Okay, so like it's a very hot topic, right? Or auditing workflow or auditing methodology, right? So in this thing, today we will be like understanding my workflow, like how I organize my audit and how I do audit every single step I've included in this presentation. So a bit about me, who am I? I am Samrat. I am also known as Smarty in my Twitter or any other platforms. So I am an independent security researcher or auditor. Currently, I'm doing private audits with DetectBox, and sometime if I got some free time, I try to participate in public contests at C4 Sherlock. And now we have Codehawks. And I also write security blogs on Medium. Previously, I used to work as a smart contract auditor at Quill Audits. So this is a bit about me. So my audit workflow, how does it looks like, right? So it's pretty much same as most of the auditors. So the first thing I do is I set up my workflow. I usually use Notion for tracking my audit and setting up all like notes and everything. And then I'll start with reading the code and docs, and then I'll start drawing diagrams for the audit. Like I just create a contract diagram and state diagrams, and then I'll start making audit notes. I'll just read the code and I will simultaneously start making audit notes. After making few audit notes, I prefer to brainstorm different attack scenarios, like what if this happens, and what if we can steal money, what if we can break the system, similar kind of stuff. And then I'll try to like resolve audit notes. I will try to verify each and every findings one by one. And after that, like I will do this step maybe 2 or 3 times to ensure that most of the bugs has been covered. So let's start. So setting up the workflow. So, so let's suppose I have to audit this code. So first thing I will go to my repo. I'm sorry, Notion. So let's suppose it's being auction. So then I'll try to, okay, it's just status. So I'll try to add a timeline for myself. Suppose this I will take maybe 1 or 2 days. Just for example, I'm just adding it. The contest is already over.
Awesome. So you pick the time frame for the audit, you book it on Notion.
Yeah. Yeah, like I like to organize this whole thing. And like I'll also add the platform, which platform it is. So it's from Sherlock. And I've already created 2 templates. So in this thing, we have competitive audit. So once I use this template, I will have everything set up for me, like notes, what if, and repo and audit findings, everything like it's pre-built template. I've made it. And if we look at the notes, I will like try to add most of the information regarding the audit. For example, if there's any documentation, I will add it over here. And if this if the project has some similar protocol which has been audited earlier, I will add it over here also. The actors involved, like there may be some in this thing, we have buyers or minter, seller. So I will add all the main actors involved, admin, etc. For diagram, I use Miro, so I will add the link for Miro over here. And we have some more things like problem areas, like which part of the protocol seems like a bit of vulnerable. And after reading the docs, if I came to know about something that protocol isn't supposed to do, I will add over here. So it will be helpful in the later part of the audit. And then we have some possible attack vectors. So this is pretty much for the notes part. And then we have audit findings. So here also I have added the templates. For example, I find let's say high or medium vulnerability. Once I click this, I will get everything, right. Summary, impact, proof of concept, mitigation steps, so that I don't need to write all these things again and again. And let's say I am reporting a lower non-critical gas, then I have also for this one just description and instances. So pretty much like it's all automated. So let's see, we have this contest. So first thing I will do is I will add it over here so that I don't have to browse through different
Nice.
thing, right? So everything will be at one place. For this contest, we don't have specific documentation. So I'll be just leaving this part. Yeah, we have set up this thing, and now what we can do is we can just simply clone this repo to our system. Let's clone it.
Some.
So previously, I used to just use one copy of the repo, but recently I saw the interview for like Akshay Srivastav, and what he does is he creates another uh, copy of the repo.
Yeah.
So it's a very cool technique, right? So I just try to do the same, and I just try to make a folder called fresh and just create a new repo over here. Okay, so like we have one repo which like I will not touch during the audit, and one repo where I will write all my notes and everything, right?
Amazing, bro.
Okay, so this was it for setting up part. Okay, so the first thing we have already done, like I have set up everything from like VS Code to. Okay, one thing I forgot here to mention is that I will try to run and compile the test and see if it's compiling or not. And if it isn't compiling, I will try to like figure out if there's some packages missing or any issue, right? And yeah. And after this, I'll start reading the code and docs at the same time. Actually, I have multiple monitors, so I open the browser with the documentation in one tab and with another tab with VS Code. So I just try to match the code and documentation, and like I switch back and forth between the both things throughout the code, right? So it really helps me understand more.
So you read both at the same time. You're focusing on reading the docs and following the code. You're not, because some people say that it's better to just go through the code, and then some people say that it's better just read the docs. It's a really controversial topic.
Yes, but it's like whatever fits best to you, right? So suppose like I have two monitors, right? So I can just check out the functions over here, and in this monitor I'll just check out like what it is supposed to do. I don't think it have any documentation as such, but this is a very like very simple contract. It's just a Dutch auction and NFT. Like people can buy the NFT in the auction, and the price gets smaller as like time passes. So there
Awesome.
wasn't much documentation. All the documentation was like all was is netspec like we have it over here. So I just try to do it, and then come this part. Recently, I've started drawing the diagrams. Previously, I use like I don't used to draw it. This is like very helpful during the audit. It helped me understand the like most complex part also. Let me show it over here. So recently, I have written the blog for the same thing. It's there. So I have
Awesome.
written like many details about like how we can generate it. First thing we can do is we can use automated tools like Solidity Metrics or Surya, or we can draw manually. So let's see like how we can draw using Solidity Metrics. We just need to click right click on the source file and just click on Solidity Metrics, and we will have like it contains many information about the contract itself.
Mm-hmm.
like what are the lines, normalized
Very interesting.
lines, code, complexity, and everything. We also have something like this score. Let me close it. Some like how many public functions are there and dependency or exports.
That's
So
very
here we
cool.
have two types of graph. That
Okay.
is, the first is merit. I'm sorry, first is inheritance graph, like which contract is inheriting from which contract. So here we can see that the Dutch auction contract is inheriting from, like it's inheriting the ownable contract from Open Zeppelin, and NFT contract is inheriting from ERC 721 enumerable and access control enumerable. And then we have call graph. Here we can see that which function is called by which function, right? I don't think I can make it big.
So you have a visual flow of how the code is interacting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
This is like very good, but this is like very simple contract, right? So we can like understand it very easily. But if the contract is very complex, we cannot understand it very easily. For that, it's better we draw a manual diagram. So I've also given a very good example for the same thing. So how do I create the diagrams? So first thing I do is I will like create a rectangle box for each contract. So here we have three, no, we have two contracts over here. Okay, so I've just created a contract for the inheritance also, ERC 721. So I've just added the contracts, and then what I did is I added all the function inside the contract. For example, the Dutch auction contract contains this 5 function. Merit NFT contains all this function, and we have legend to understand like what
I
it
understand.
has. And finally, what I do is I will just let me show you over here. Mhm. Yeah, for example, we are seeing that a get price function, inside the get price function, get price add function is called, right? So what we can do is we can just make a arrow like get price is calling get price add function. So similarly, I made the arrow for each and every function call across the contracts, and at last this is looking kind of like it's not looking neat and clean, right? So at last, what we did is we make it much more clearer. We just rearrange the boxes and make it much readable form. So this is first contract which I try to make. That is overview, and then the second contract. I'm sorry, the second diagram I try to make is state machine diagram. So what is state machine? State machine diagram is a graphical representation of different state a system like transitions, right? So for example, in this function, we have a state transition from beginning of the auction to auction has already begun and the end of auction. In between, what are the state changes we can track, right? So here users are minting NFTs and we are tracking the variables of the contract, right?
Okay.
So it's not a bit clear. So let's suppose the auction has been started, right? So the value of minted is 0. And here we can see that 3 NFTs are minted, and at last the minted should be 3, right? It's just a basic example. There may be some more complex thing, right? So which may not hold true for it. So there are a few required which I've added. So it basically makes us understand like the flow of contract and the flow of state.
Okay.
So in the beginning state, we have 0 minted, and then we just minted few stuff, and then we have 3 NFT already minted. So it's just a simple. We can see that here are much more complex contract. Like it's very
Yeah, Jared is crazy. There's some
yeah.
really nice diagrams.
Also, this one is very good by Jonatas Martins. He's also a great guy,
Yeah.
and this is OP one, like drawing with a physical whiteboard and everything, right? So there are many researchers who draw this, right? So they it really helps them throughout the audit process. Okay, so this was the thing which drawing state diagrams. So the fourth thing is that I like to make audit notes for this. There are many people who use inline bookmark extension for it. I also use inline bookmarks in addition with the Notion, right, which I just showed at the beginning. Let me show it again. So I try to add most of the docs over here, and I also use inline bookmark, but this is like a much more of a clarity, right? We can have everything at the same place. In inline
Seems
bookmarks,
pretty
we see
useful,
that
you
we
know.
have to,
Don't have to change
yeah.
pages and whatnot.
So this is like quite helpful, getting organized in a single place. So using inline bookmark is pretty much very easy, right? Most of people would know. We can simply add to @audit tag, and we will get a bookmark over here. And let's suppose we have multiple contract and we have added multiple audit tags. So we can get all the audit tags over here. So we can see that we have added 2 audit tags and we can get everything in this tab. So it is also very useful to track and resolve everything, right?
Yeah, yeah, it gives you a straight up place to see, and you can, navigate through much easier, right?
There's also this visual developer extension, so we can visualize all the workspace. It also, so we can get the external calls, everything like we can get in the same place. So this is a very good extension for this. So yeah. So brainstorming part, right? I'll start. I basically, after understanding the code and making some notes, I'll start with Solo Audit. Solo Audit is like very really good tool, right? I've bookmarked it over here also to like quickly get it. I will just try to copy some of the function to see that if
The code is
like
there.
earlier, yes, if some already audited code contains the same vulnerability as this one. So I'll start with Solo Audit, and I'll just, it's a bit slow. I don't know why after recent update. Yeah, so for example, let's suppose we have, this is an auction contract, right? So just let's try to search for auction and see all the vulnerability related to the auction contracts. So we can see that there are pretty much many vulnerabilities over there. We can browse to some of the thing and we can compare our contract and see if the same is for us or not, right? So we have a lots of things, so it will take a bit of time. And yes, so here we have a high severity vulnerability where NFT owner can create multiple auction. So I will try to reproduce same or search for the same pattern in this contract, and if I find it very good, if not, then I will try to just move on with another steps. And after using the sole audit part, the next thing I try to do is questions for audit. Let me show you what questions I follow. So here are few questions like during the audit, I try to ask myself. Uh, I just took it
Nice.
from the Travis interview. It was like very helpful for me during all the audits. Like, are all state variable updated as they should be, and when they should be? Like, this all are very useful when trying to question ourselves, right? During an audit, if we can make the state go into some unexpected state or not. So reading this question and matching the same with the contract really helped me a lot. And I'll just show you an example also for this. So this was for my recent audit, which I did with 33 audits. So we had a similar escrow contract, and here are a few questions which I wrote for myself. And then once I verified it, I just added some comments over here. So this was the high severity issue which we found. What if the mediation has been started and one can cancel the contract? So basically, let's say there is a client and contractor, and they started a mediation. Now there was a check that mediation can only be cancelled by the mediator, right? But the contract was like contract can be cancelled by both contractor and client, so it shouldn't happen, and it was a high severity
Mm,
finding. So
nice.
questioning the contract really helps find good vulnerabilities. Let me see, I have some more. So this is the section where like I will add all the question and answer, like what if this we can bring the contract into this particular state, or what if we can abuse this contract to perform something which is it isn't intended to do. And I'll just answer the thing. If it's correct, then I will just do yes, it happened, it's vulnerable. And if it's not, then I'll just add a comment that no, it's not, and I'll move on with other assumptions.
So you
Here
can
we can
also
see
make
that
those questions per function, right? You can see how the functions interact and maybe, some weird parameters. I didn't see you talking about testing. Like, are you doing any fuzzing at this point or something like that?
fuzzing, honestly speaking, I'm not doing any fuzzing,
Okay.
but I try to read the unit test. And yes, I forgot to mention it. While writing this what if unit test really helps a lot, because we already have a list of test what developer has assumed, so we can like test more from it. So reading the unit test and trying to get our question from unit test is the like very good way. I also try to modify the functions and try to like play with the unit test. It's like very comes very handy. And yeah, this is
Amazing,
pretty
bro.
much like I just try to play with the unit test, and I try to see if something breaks or not. And if I get some error, I try to revert and I try to do it again with some other function, other parameters again and again. This is it.
Just try it. Yeah, you're
And
fucking right.
yeah, just try to poke around. And after doing all the notes, and when I have all the like questions ready, I'll try to find each tags and try to validate each finding, right? Once I validate it, at that moment I start writing report for it. I will not write a proper report, right? Everything, but I will just write enough details over there, like it will be very helpful in writing a better report or formalized report. I'll just add all the information like a unit test or the description and proof of concept, etc. And after in this process also, if I encounter anything suspicious, like we just saw in Akshay's thing, right? He just says that after doing all the audit tags, he again visit the code base without audit tags, the fresh one. And at that time, he still encounters some additional suspicious code, and he audit that again. So I also do the same. And if I encounter any additional suspicious code, I will also try to verify it again and again.
Nice.
And this is it.
It's really like
Okay, so
a recursive process of questioning yourself, seeing where you are, if
mhm.
things make sense.
So for example, this was the contest. Like there was no issue at all. Everything was like low and gas, and no one was rewarded, right? So I cannot spot anything very
Wow.
serious over here.
Only gas optimizations?
No, nothing like it was from Sherlock, right? So they don't accept any gas or QA thing.
Ah,
All
it's
they
true.
care about is high end gas. So nothing was accepted in this contest. So there was some issue like this cap per address can be bypassed, right? User can generate infinite number of wallet and can bypass this limit, but that was invalidated.
Yeah? Was validated? Okay.
Invalidated, like they disregarded that issues.
Interesting, bro.
So yeah, that's all. Like this is how I do audit, and I try to optimize my efficiency over here. Everything like I do, I try to make notes for it, and I keep everything at one place so that I just open then one Notion page and I can get everything related to this thing. Suppose let's say it was a fork of any existing protocol, then I would add some details about the same project or protocol. If there's some already existing audit report, I'll try to read them and proceed further. And yeah, this is pretty much the audit
Awesome, bro.
workflow.
We also have Hohan here in the call. How's it going, Hohan?
Hey, miss, how are you, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. Glad you're here. We also have our friend B. I cannot see your name completely. Do you guys have questions?
What should I ask? I'm thinking of that.
So I have a question, right? So, Marty, what is the trickiest situation when dealing with contracts? They are too complex. Like how do you try to approach code that seems really strange to you? Sometimes I open these functions and they are massively complicated. There's a way to approach this. Maybe break the problem into smaller pieces or something.
Mhm. If the function is a bit more complex, I just try to like simplify it by using I just try to read it multiple times, and still if I don't get it, I just try to use the Bard or Chat GPT, and it's like very good for understanding stuff. But there are also there are lots of false positive also there, right? So if a function does something and they also not return the thing accurately, right? So I need to verify it again. But it really helps in the audit workflow.
How do you feel regarding the massive amount of automation that we're getting now in audits? How do you think that will influence the future?
As of now, I think maybe we still have a lot of time before automation takes over. Like maybe we have heard about ChatGPT 4 will take over the auditors and all that stuff, right? But I think this time, maybe 5 years from now, it, it will be at that moment. But still, the GPT or AI cannot catch all the edge cases. Like we have seen experts in our industry like Trust, Zach Obront, they are like finding critical bugs like we haven't even thought of it, right? So they are that are very next level to be found by an AI. And yeah.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. And regarding complex code bases, in the sense that you have so many files interacting with different protocols, usually how do you consider the interaction between protocols? What can go wrong in there? Let's say both functions are protected through some sort of role grant, so you need to have a specific user to do an action, but there's still a flaw in there. Is that a high or is that a medium because it's still protected by the owner?
I think there are auditors who will put that as an high, but personally, I think that is an medium. Or if the owner are trusted, then that isn't even like a low issue. But it depends on the project, right? We also in some private audit, like we have added the owner centralization risk as medium only. We haven't like added it to high, because practically if the owner want to run the project, he can do it anyways, right? So there's no need for putting that thing in the high issues.
I understand, I understand. And recently we had a case where the owner of the contract could die or so. Actually, that got
Yeah,
validated
yeah.
as a high, so it brings it actually a whole new suite of problems for us, right?
Yeah, I think that was from the Codehawks contest, Escrow one, right? Somebody has reported that the protocol will break if the owner, if the mediator die. It was not owner, but it was mediator.
Yeah, man.
So let's see. Like the Codehawks has been very terrible for the judging, right? Recently, but I think they will improve a lot, because there are some issues which are not even like low issues, but they have made it high or medium thing, like safe transfer and the other like ERC20 related issues.
Yeah, it's true. And definitely something that we need to consider. Marty, what
Mhm.
was the most important thing you learned, the most powerful thing you did that kept you, going all this time because you've been doing that for a while now?
Mhm. I'm sorry, I didn't get your question.
So, what was the most important thing you learned that kept you going the audits? Because you've been doing that for a while, and I've seen a bunch of people already gave up on that.
Okay, so like you are asking what has like motivated me to keep going in this audit field, right?
Yeah,
So it's like what it is. I don't like think of it often, right? So I'm just doing my work, and yeah, I just do
it's
like
just natural for you.
uh, it's just natural. I have to do any work, so this is also a kind of work, and it's kind of like very interesting, and it have some of the benefit like other work that doesn't have. Like you can work anytime and anywhere, even if you are like traveling, you can just work. And yeah, these all things are very like uh, very motivating for me.
Amazing, buddy. Amazing. An auditor by heart. Let me see. Do we have more questions here from the community? You guys want to ask? Thank you, our friends Marty. Want to say anything else?
So someone has asked me to share my template. So after this call, I will share the template. Actually, I have to remove some of my like data, right? So after removing all the thing, I will just share it to Misanthropic, and then he will share to the channel.
Amazing. That for sure. I think this is it. Smarty, any closing thoughts?
Yes, I had some closing thought over here, right? Constantly improve your methodology. Don't get stick to a single methodology. For example, a few weeks ago, I didn't used to draw the diagrams and all. Then I just saw some tweet and I just started doing, and it is really great. Try to make notes of whatever you are learning. So I just wanted to show it. So here is my learning table. So whatever I try to learn, I just write it over there. For example, all the series of audit together, I have just made notes for everything. Uh, this is for the Dravi one interview, and then we have for ways everything. Like I have noted it down. So if there's something of some link, etc., if I need, I can just go to the thing and I can retrieve
Wow,
it very
very
quick, right?
nice.
So it's very easy. Also, like I've made lots of notes, right?
Bro, you need to share this with me, man.
Yeah, I have to like it's not complete. I have to make a bit of like I have to add much more detail, and then I'm thinking to make it public anyways.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
yeah, so this was the thing, and yes, engage with the security community, contribute to the community. Engaging will like it's a very healthy habit in the community. You will learn a lot. And yes, try to contribute, write tweets, write blogs, make videos, help anyone out if they are stuck in the same problem which you were. And yeah, avoid burnouts. Try to listen to your body. Don't work too much, right? Uh, I whenever I have burnout, I just stop working. And
That's a
yeah,
really
that's
good
all.
tip. Thank you so much, brother, for coming today. You're always super nice to have on. It's always a pleasure to talking with you. So whenever you want to come, just let us know. This will be, very useful, and always nice to see a process for someone that is different. Yeah, this is it, guys, and catch you guys later. Okay, bye bye.
Okay. Thanks a lot for inviting me.
No problem.
Bye bye, miss.
Bye bye.